Well, didn't think I'd ever actually be using this again, but here we are. Hey guys, Sonic Smash Bros. Here, and well, new skill for Synchron has been leaked for Duel Links at least a little while ago. Like, a couple of days ago to a week at most or something. And I did not want to have you guys waiting to see what I was cooking. Because I already came up with some stupid, ridiculous ideas. Granted, this all hinges on us getting one card in particular, and that is the Junk Speeder. Because if this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon as many Synchron tuners as possible with different levels from your deck in defense position, and you're locked to Synchro monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect. So, here's the deal. This would be insane with the new skill, and the new skill reads as follows. You can use the second and third effects once per duel if your extra deck contains Stardust Dragon. First effect is just the restrictions. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for Junk Synchron or Warrior Synchro monsters, and Light or Wind monsters with a level. Note that does not restrict fusions, so Invoke Abuse could be a thing that I'm a little worried about, but if we get Speeder, that'll be out the window. So the second effect, and the first activatable effect, reveal a Synchron monster in your hand, return one card from your hand to the deck, and then add one on your mark, get set duel from your deck to your hand. Third effect, the second of the two activatable effects, send one card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then play Wheel Synchron face up on your field from outside of your deck. Add Jet Warrior, Junk Archer, Junk Destroyer, Junk Warrior, Shooting Star Dragon, and Stardust Warrior to your extra deck, and Formula Synchron, Sonic Chick, and Speed Warrior to your graveyard from outside of your deck. Now, in terms of on your mark, get set duel, basically we're only using this to activate if we control no other cards, add a Synchron from deck to hand. We're never actually worrying about the signal counters because we don't have the field spell to actually make full use of that, which is Synchro World. And basically, I ended up doing what I could to figure out, hey, what can we actually do with this? Now, please note, one extra deck slot will not be used up because I am literally having to use it for Formula Synchron right now just to show how the skill works. So, this is the build I am cooking with at the moment, and I think I should show how this works. So, let's get into a duel room, do solo mode, switch to the Synchron build that I use for Duel Links, or we'll be using rather. Okay, this is at least a good chance to show how this works if all we see is a Synchron. So since this was the 5th card, and there was nothing from the skill, top of the deck we go. So, we're going to reveal a Synchron of choice. In this case, we just revealed Junk, because that's basically our normal summon of choice. We'll just return this to top of deck, because I don't really care which one I lose, because we're going to add on your mark, get set duel anyway. Where is it? There we are. On your mark, get set duel now activates. And we add our Jet back. Not going to bother shuffling because we're going right back in. So skill effect will send this to grave. Send these to grave, get wheel onto our field. And mill the Formula Synchron. So from here, what we're going to do, use Wheel's effect, gain our extra normal summon per turn. Activate, targeting our Speed Warrior. Now please note the skill could be a translation error with the lighter wind monsters with a level. It might be lighter wind synchro monsters, I'm not sure. But these become our Junk Speed. Activate Speeder. That'll allow us to get Jet and Fleur. I run Fleur Synchron for a reason, you're gonna see why. So these two become our Stardust Charge Warrior. Chain 1 Charge. Chain 2 Jet. Because reminder, Wheel is also being treated as a non-tuner. Search Converter. Shuffle. Draw. Okay, Overtake. So I can show one build. On the Venom board. We're going to activate. And pitch Jet and Converter. Wow, this actually is more consistent than I thought in hindsight, because all you need is a Synchron, and if you're willing to give up a back row or an Overtake, then there you go. You add your junk. These will become our Crystal Wing. Now, what we do from here depends on what we want to go for. Either way, Junk Synchron is our normal summon. Now, if you have Overtake, you have the option. Otherwise, I do strongly recommend you just target the Converter. We do play a Junk Warrior in the extra deck anyway, in case we only see Overtake, because we will need an Overtake target. And I'm going to use the alt art to show that we use that particular Junk Warrior. Where is the alt art, though, in Duel Links? I need that. It's so good. Forced Activate, Chain 2. Target Formula. Special and Defense. And then these become, of course, the Quasar. Not terrible for something super consistent. Quasar Crystal Wing together. That is actually kind of insane. Of course, we'll have two back rows if this was an Overtake. But if this was Overtake, one thing we can do, back to extra deck, let's just go ahead and reset the thing. Back to extra deck. Let's get Speeder back on field. Let's get Junk back on field, back in hand. So I can show this again. Let's move you back to EMZ. Put these back in our hand to show where we were. So instead, what we can do is our normal summon for turn, our regular normal summon for turn, is our Junk Synchron. We target that, and just hard grab Formula. Special and Defense. These. Become our Stardust Dragon. These then become our Stardust Warrior provided by the skill. Then we do Synchro Overtake. By revealing the Shooting Star Dragon, we then special summon Stardust back to the field. And this is off of literally seeing any Synchron. Well, in particular, if you have Junk or Jet. And so with one back row set, you have that option. Very reminiscent of the old Shooting Star Road build back in the day we got Junk and Car Turbo. So, let's reset this to see if we can show the other big combo we can do. Because there is actually a way to play through hand traps. And that's kind of a bad hand. I'd argue that's a brick because we hard drew the on your mark get set duel. And our one Fleur. We don't want to ever see Fleur in our hand. There's a reason why I'm glad that the skill has a cost of returning from hand to deck. Okay, these two are from the skill. So we're going to put these on the bottom and draw again. Okay, so we still see the same build, basically. It's the same result. So we're just going to do this as always. Reveal. Return 1. On your mark, get set duel. 2 spell trap. May as well just show it this way. And jet to hand. Skill sends to grave. Gets our wheel. Mills these two. Sonic Chick is kind of useless for the lines we have. Mill. And here we go. Junk, you know the drill. I want to show the way we can get through hand traps, because there is a way we can do it. The layout for some of this stuff on Dueling Book is so confusing. So once more of these become our... Where is Speeder? There we are. Activate, you know the drill. Jet and Fleur. Trust me when I say there is a way we can get through hand traps. These become our charge. I just want to see what I draw. Now, if I draw a converter after searching converter, that is going to be super funny. You don't know how many times I've had that happen in Master Duel in particular. With this exact same setup. Okay, so that's actually really good, because we can just do... Converter pitch. Search out junk to hand. And we have 3 actual back rows. One for, you know, field spells, just continuous spells in general, continuous anything really. One to keep one of our monsters safe from back row, and the other is Eclipse, which is just busted in general. These two become Crystal Wing, and you know the drill with the rest. Almost summon for turn. Okay, it's not letting me do it because of how my stuff is set up, but target converter. These two become our Junk Warrior. Gets us back our formula. And these become our Quasar. This is all in one turn, again, if we have Speeder. Now, I want to try and show getting through hand traps, because I know we can do that. Okay, that would be the fourth card we draw in. Honestly, it'd be the same result, either going the Crystal Wing Quasar or Crystal Wing Stardust Warrior Stardust. So let's reset that and try that again. I played 3 converters for a reason. And same result. Same result. Okay, now, that is just a hard brick. Well, sort of. You get Crystal Wing Stardust Warrior. I guess I'll just show this. Because this is one benefit of the skill. Because it requires us to return a card from hand to deck, we can actually put our Garnets back. So we reveal Fleur. Put that back. And on your mark, get set Duel. Activate. Add junk to hand. We're going right back in. Skill effect. Get our wheel. And put these in grave. Also put the formula in grave. Normal summon for turn. Well, not normal summon for turn. Wheel normal summon. Activate. Target our Voice Speed Warrior. Special and defense. We synchro off into our Speeder. Activate. I've gotten these hands several times in testing. I don't know why I'm not getting it now. You can opt to take a gamble if you're so inclined. And we have a way to deal with, to have a hand in case we do get this gamble to fail. Chain 1. Chain 2. Basically, my game here is to search Converter and hope I draw either one of my tuners or Overtake. And that's what happens. Alright, so I'm going to show what you would do otherwise. If that gamble fails, you're kind of just left with, well, that, and there's nothing you can really do. So let's return these to show what would actually happen. Realistically. So we do chain 1, chain 2. Instead, search our junk. If we draw a converter, I'm willing to give up the second junk to get a third, but we got a third anyway. So here's what we do. These become Crystal Wing, and you probably know the rest. Junk, formula, go from there. That's if you're willing to take the gamble. If you're not willing to take the gamble, synchro off with Junk Speeder instead. Alright, so this is kind of the reason why I prefer running the overtake, because this hand leads to the same result. I'm going to spoil that right now. I need to see Converter in my opening hand here. Okay, 2 from the skill, so let's just return those to the bottom, because this is actually the hand that I can use to show this off. And another one from the skill, so let's put that on the bottom and draw again. Okay, so here's what we do. Reveal Jet, return whatever card we don't need. In this case, I'm going to return you, because I already have a Converter in hand. We add on your mark, get set, duel. So I'm going to show at least a few ways that we get through hand traps here. Activate. Search or junk. Activate. Pitch Jet, Pitch Converter. Add junk. Skill sends to grave, we get our wheel. We get those engraved, we get our formula. So, here's the deal. What happens if we get hit with Effect Veiler or something like that? So, if Wheel gets hit with Veiler, we don't have our extra normal summon. We instead do this. Normal. Activate. And you would prefer to target Speed Warrior? Because we're going to be using Speeder anyway, and if Converter gets banished, you're not going to have a follow-up on the following turn. So this is if Wheel gets Veiler. We get our Speeder, we activate. As usual, we grab Jet and Fleur. Bear in mind, if Wheel gets Veilered, it can no longer be treated as a non-tuner. It's one of the only cards with such an effect that can actually have that taken away from them. So instead, you have to go simple. These become our charge. Chain 1. Chain 2. Search Converter specifically. There's a reason we play Fleur Synchron, and you're gonna see why right here. Okay, this is actually not bad. So Fleur and Charge become our Crystal Whip, right? Fleur has a graveyard effect, allowing us to special summon a level 2 or lower monster from hand. That's Converter, which we just searched. Then these become our Clearwing. If we have Overtake, we can also take advantage of that because we still have Converter's Graveyard effect. In this case, we don't have the Overtake, but let's just say one of these 3 cards is not what they are. They're Overtake. Let's return this to deck, for example, and search the Overtake so I can show what I'm talking about. So if one of these is Overtake, and we haven't used it for turn, we would activate target wheel. Overtake activates. In this case, for the memes, I'm gonna reveal Junk Warrior. We bring back the Junk Synchron. From grave. Actually, no, it can't be the Lance in this case. I think I'd have to do this way because of how I did the line. So let's get that junk back. Just to show how that would actually look normally. And so now that wheel can be treated as a non-tuner again, these become either our Stardust Dragon or another level 8 that we might want. Normally it's Stardust, though. So, this is okay. This is actually, this is through a Veiler. This is through a Veiler, I can't even be mad. So, let's reset this again and show further or what I mean. Okay, 2 from the skills. Let's put these on the bottom. And draw 1. This is another hand that can show this exact same thing. I think I just reveal Junk, return Jet. There is a reason we play 2 Jets, and now you're seeing it in full. We go on your mark, get set, duel. We'll just put it in spell trap because we're going to activate it right away. Go right back in, add the Jet. This to grave, gets our wheel. Mills the Sonic Chick. And the Speed Warrior. And then we mill the formula from outside as well. So, let's say they're trying to hold Veiler for Speeder. A smart deal, usually. This is where the converter comes in. This is the reason why we can play through hand traps. We do that to scout DD Crow as well. If they have DD Crow, we're going to have a few issues. So, let's say they try to hold Veiler for Speeder. Normal Junk activate, target Speed Warrior. Always target Speed Warrior. I can't do it from here because of how this is set up, so. We target that, summon it. These become our Speeder. We activate, it gets Veilered. Oh well, we still have our regular normal summon for turn. So what we do is normal this. We still can get Quasar, granted, but one interaction like that and leaving wheel wide open, that's not good. Ever. I think you just target formula here. Because these, since Veal can still be treated as a non-tuner, since that wasn't what got Veilered, become our Clear Wing. And these become our Crystal Wing. Not the best end board, but it's also not the worst either. Okay, that's from the skill. This hand is kind of janky. Like, it's good, but we wouldn't be able to get our best end boards. We also would have a bit of a susceptibility to hand traps, so that's not going to show, like, how we get through those. That's still pretty good, but not ideal. Still pretty good, but we still need to see the convert. We need to see convert, or we're going to play through hand traps. Like, these are all hands that lead to combos. I should stress that. Okay, this is what I was talking about. If the only card we see is Overtake, this is why we have to play Junk Warrior normally. Because otherwise, this would be a brick. We wouldn't have a Synchron to reveal. With this, we can activate, reveal our Junk Warrior that's in our extra deck already by default, and add Junk to hand. Then the skill is online. That's why we have to play the Junk Warrior. This is what I was talking about. Okay, this is from the skill, so Now, let's say we have to worry about DD Crow. We do the usual, play the on your market set Duel. So skill, reveal, return Jet, only to add it back on your market set Duel. I always would say do the skill first, because, like, let's look at it this way. You don't want them, like, having to worry about specifically just Converter, right? Because if you do the Converter first, and they have DD Crow, they'll know to choke that. So what you want to do is do the skill first. So, Speed Warrior, Sonic check. Get our wheel on field. And mill our formula. So to clear it, this scout's a hand trap of any sort. Or if we know about DD Crow, we can just play around that fact. Okay, so in this case we add Junk. You pretty much always add Junk. Extra normal summon this. Let's say we target Speeder, not Speeder, Speed Warrior. Let's say that gets DD Crowed. So that gets banished. We can't do anything with that. Then, in that case, we have to unclog. So these become our Stardust, our level 8 Wind, whatever one we choose. Cyber Slash would be pretty good here, but if we get Excel Synchro Stardust, it'll be even better. Because we can do Excel Synchro Stardust, bring back Formula, make our Stardust Warrior, and keep playing. But in this case, we would do Stardust Dragon. So, like, say we do Excel Synchro Stardust, bring back Formula, Stardust Warrior. Junk normal summons, we get our converter, go into our speeder. If we draw Overtake, we can end on Crystal Wing, Stardust Warrior, Stardust with a back row. That's if we get Excel Synchro Stardust. I don't think we will. So I'm going to assume we're not. Normal summon for turn. Now we activate again. And now we target our real prize, our converter. Bring that back to the field. These become our speeder. Chain 1, chain 2. You can chain 2 here. And here is where I recommend you just target the formula. Now, obviously, if you don't do this, you go charge, chain 1 charge, chain 2 jet, and go Crystal Wing. In hopes of drawing the overtake if you had Stardust Warrior already, but we won't be getting Excel Synchro Stardust, I don't think. Not for a while. And in this case, we actually get out junk. These become our Crystal Wing. And we can just pass and watch the matchup. Because, reminder, Formula was brought back by Converter, so its effects are still online on the opponent's turn. So we can go either Shooting Star, Stardust Warrior, Shooting Star Tech Genus expansion if we end up needing that. If we end up playing it, that is. We might, I'm not sure. Or there's a theory of us potentially getting Satellite Warrior, we could do that too. And in that case, with 3 Synchros engraved by the time it comes out, we blow up 3 cards, gain 3,000 attack, all that good stuff. So that's through a DD Crow, which is nice. But what about having to worry about Nibiru? Well, this will require Converter in hand, and we got it. Awesome. So if you want a Nibiru safe combo, we will unfortunately have to give up a Lance here. Now, Nibiru won't come up very often, pretty much ever, because of how skills work in DL. Alright, let's just set this to Spell Jump because we're going to activate. We do need to see junk. Then Converter Pitch. Junk number 2. So, here's how this works if you're worried about Nibiru. You don't even go Speeder here. We normal summon for turn. Activate, and we do have to target Converter. It's a little unfortunate that we have to leave ourselves so susceptible to a hand trap of some sort. So these become our Junk Warrior. Converter would activate, bringing back our Junk Synchron. That's summon number 4. So by the time we get to Crystal Wing, this is summon number 5. We're safe from the Nibiru. And then we can do skill 2. So, well, skill 3 technically, but it's realistically just skill 2. Mill our formula. Declare our normal summon, which will be Junk Synchron. Activate. Target formula, and you know the rest. Stardust. These become our Stardust Warrior. And we set the 1. So, honestly, considering we're playing through Nibiru, that's still not terrible. Not great, but not terrible. So as you can see, we have plenty of ways to get through hand traps. Well, at least one hand trap. I'm not sure about multiple, but it's still pretty resilient. And the fact that any one Synchron can potentially lead to Quasar and Crystal Wing turn 1 up and get Speeder, Speeder would make this really good. That's really just about every end board I can show. Ignore that, that's the build I'm running in TCG/Master Duel. So, the thing is, this could potentially be really good. Granted, with Predaplants and Dragonic Contact still running around, and also Salad still being busted. I'm not sure if this would be good enough to make this remotely strong enough to compete at a top level, but it'll still be really good in general. Mind you, that depends on us getting Speeder. If we don't get Speeder, our end boards are non-existent. Like, Converter and a Synchron at best leads to Crystal Wing Stardust Warrior. That's not that great of a ceiling. It's supposed to be an alternative end board. If Speeder comes up and we're limit 1, we're just cooked because we can't play Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing is kind of like a necessity for Synchron. It's usually just something that's easy to get into with Synchron anyway. And on top of that, it's just a good boss monster. I would not mind seeing Speeder limit 3, so we only get 2 limit 3 slots. That's just me. Even if we only get 1 in the game. So that's pretty much all I can say. So, this could be really good, depending on what we actually get. We need to see Speeder, preferably not limit 1, and at that point, we're set to go. But with all that said, that's all I can really say. Until this actually comes out in Duel Links, or whatever video comes up next, whatever it might be. Later, guys.